Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Chabot, and I am going to be your instructor for this summer asynchronous University Physics 1 calculus-based. So welcome. It is the summer of 2024, and the course starts this week. So I'm going to just do a quick walk through some of the key things on my courses so that you can just dive right in and get started. I'll be making another one of these videos once I assign lab groups, talking a little bit about the first lab. And also I'll do one about every week just to kind of help keep us on track and make sure that we know what we're supposed to be working on. So I'm going to start off by just sharing my screen. So this is our My Courses page. This is going to be where you can find every deadline that you need will be listed here. Very specifically, these weekly guides are going to be your go-to each week. And I'll get to those in a second. First, the Start Here button is where we want to start. And so the welcome page, basically, it just talks about me a little bit. And then the idea, again, that this is a fully asynchronous course. So if you didn't know that, and then that might not work for you, you might still have time to find other options. It is a fully asynchronous course. We don't have any set face-to-face class meetings or office hour times. However, that doesn't mean that I just throw all the material at you and then, good luck for the next 12 weeks. It is not self-paced entirely. You can always work ahead, but there are very firm, frequent deadlines to make sure in a difficult class like this that you don't fall behind and can stay on top of the material as needed. I do have a lot of asynchronous interaction, and that's where we have a devoted Discord server. The only thing I use Discord for is this course. And so I get all my notifications, and if I have a notification, I can prioritize that over my regular work email. And so that Discord server, that's where you can interact asynchronously with me and with your classmates, asking questions, getting help, helping each other close to deadlines. Okay, so that's the basics. And again, you can find other options if the asynchronous does not work for you. There is this day one scavenger hunt. This is going to be the first thing that's due, and it's going to be due on Thursday. And that's going to make sure that you have everything you need for the course. This video, once I post it, it'll be here in the first thing. So you found step one. There's an introductory survey where I get to know a little bit about you and your physics background, but also, very importantly, I try to figure out what your preferences are for the type of lab group, when you like to work, whether you like to work synchronously with people or whether you want to work asynchronously over Zoom with your groups. So your labs are done in groups, so making sure you participate in that survey so I can place you in similar type groups. Our Discord channel that will bring you to that so that then you can DM me as part of this. And then that will set up our initial communication. And then everything between you and I will go into that Discord DM. And then everything for the class and content-based will be in the general channel. Okay. Expert TA and Pivot. These are what we use for homeworks and labs. Expert TA is our online homework system. You have to click using the links in My Courses or else your grade won't sync. So when you go over to the first Expert TA, it'll be asked for a payment, and then you'll get to our course. And everything is self-contained here. As you answer and select an option and hit submit on that option, then it will continue and record. There's no full submit for the assignment. So you're just kind of continuously being graded as you see it. You will see that grade appear in the grade section of My Courses as you work on that assignment. The other thing in the in the scavenger hunt is Pivot. So the Expert TA is our kind of, straightforward online homework system. You might be used to something kind of like that. And the first thing due is the tutorial. For Pivot, this one, you very likely have not used something like this before. This is going to be how we do our labs. Luckily, University Physics 1 is the study of motion, and motion is position as a function of time in y and in x as a function of time, and that's literally what a video gives us. So if we can calibrate the lengths in a video and calibrate the time, then we can actually make measurements and do real actual labs even when they're online. And so that's what Pivot allows us to do. And so, for example, and I'll talk more about this in the lab video, but here's an example of the first lab that you'll be looking at, where somebody's dropping a tennis ball. We have this calibrated length of a 2-meter stick on the wall, and so then the length's been calibrated for you at this 2 meters. And then we have a calibrated time, and then we're able to press go, or in this case, I would just advance frame by frame, and then we can see the time and the position, and I can make different position and time measurements as I advance through those frames. So that's going to be one use of Pivot, where you make your actual measurements for the labs, and there'll be more instructions on that to follow. And then you're also going to have some homework assignments that are on Pivot. And these ones are going to be individual, self-contained. You're going to have the ability to watch videos, again, of real life motion. And then you'll actually answer the questions within Pivot itself. And those then are part of your homework assignments. So the homework for this asynchronous course versus the regular semester, it's half expert TA, half Pivot. So the expert TA assignments are normal than in our regular fall and spring semesters. And then they're supplemented with more of these real life measurements to help bring in those hands-on components that we usually have in the semester. Okay, so there is also a course packet that I've created, and this has literally every how-to guide for the semester and study sheets. So I do recommend printing a paper copy, because you can then use it as you're working on your computer. But if you're a big tablet user, then maybe you don't. But black and white is okay if you do print it. And then the course outlines and deadlines. I have a page here that will just allow us so that you can decide what your plan for each week will be. And so I also ask about this in the intro survey. You can see that we have no deadlines on Fridays and Saturdays. And so our deadlines are Monday through Thursday and Sundays. So that will be something to keep in mind. But again, everything is posted early, so you can always front load. So if you're I rather work on Fridays and Saturdays, that's fine. You can easily get ahead and work that way as well. Okay, so then I'm going to go to the syllabus last. Here we have the last things in the scavenger hunt, the weekly guides. You will be uploading a My Courses picture, and then the student ID verification that is required for online asynchronous courses. So these weekly guides, I also have them linked in the handout in this front page. So you can always just go to this front page, click on the weekly guide, and you'll see then the structure of the typical weekly guide. I have the day, and then for that day, I have any deadlines that are due, along with the time that are due in bold. So you can see that Thursday, you really just have to do the scavenger hunt. That's the only main deadline until Sunday. Now, you don't want to wait till Sunday then to do all of these things, right? So you want to start ahead. So Sunday, you are going to have your first video notes due, meaning that you watch some videos that I've created of the content. You'll upload your video notes. Those video notes are for you. And so that I know that you've interacted with the video. So you can write down your key ideas and key takeaways from it, or you can write down everything I write down. And then I also, when I give video notes, I also tell you which pages of the course packet are relevant in terms of your how-to guide. And then in addition to that, you'll also have these check-ins. So these weekly, almost every time you have a video notes, you also have a check-in, which allows you to kind of think about the material and go ahead and process what was in the videos. So basically, in this case, you can use anything you want. They're graded, so the correct responses are 100% credit and incorrect responses are 50% credit. And then after your first attempt, you can re-answer missed questions up to 2 times. And your final check-in grade is the average of all your attempts. So every time you retake it, your grade gets higher and higher than the first one. It's never lower, so it's always a benefit to retake the missed questions. And again, the goal there is to help you understand the material. If there were ones that are not well understood from that check-in, then at midnight on the day of the due date for the check-in, so for example, Sunday at midnight, I post full explained solutions of each check-in. So you can keep track of which ones you didn't really understand, go back to the solutions, and then reinforce. You can also see that this week we're going to have on Sunday your Expert TA tutorial, very straightforward, just getting used to Expert TA. And then there is a math review for what parts of algebra, trigonometry, calculus you need to have had, and you'll actually just submit your work as a PDF for that. And then if we advance to the next week, which is a little bit more of a typical week because it's not the first week and it's the full week. You can see, again, I usually post a start of week video announcement, and then each day as you scroll, you see what those assignments are. So your weekly guides are your one-stop shop. That is what you want to be doing in order to stay on top of this course. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to very quickly go over to the syllabus. You can take some time to read that yourselves. But the main thing here, again, the only purchases are Pivot, which is only $10, and then Expert TA, which I believe is $35. So there is a optional and free, it's really quite good, textbook. So given that it's an asynchronous course, the videos might not be enough for you. This textbook is very good and completely free. And at the end of each module, when you work through the modules, I know I'm throwing a lot at you in this video. So at the end of each module, if you scroll all the way down, I have optional reading at the end of every module, and I link directly to the relevant parts of the textbook. So a lot of people find that, especially asynchronously, to be very useful to use those additional reinforcement besides the videos. All of those modules are linked in the weekly guide in terms of what you need to be doing each time. Okay, so back to the syllabus. I'll just talk quickly about grades. The grades are built up of kind of all these components that we've touched on. We have these check-ins, which are in the quiz environment, untimed, 3 attempts allowed, gets higher every time you take one because I only show you the ones you missed. And the average of all scores is recorded for that check-in. There's no late submissions, and the lowest 3 at the end of the semester are dropped. It's 10% of your grade. The module homework sets, this is 2 parts. Remember, this is going to be your Pivot interactive portion. And there's none that are late there that are allowed, and I will drop the lowest one. And then separately, the Expert TA problem solving assignments versus these ones where you're actually analyzing motions. The Expert TA problem solving, more traditional problem solving, those are completed and submitted on Expert TA. Those I do allow late, 10% late penalty per day, all the way down to the 0, and I do drop the lowest one. All of these are going to be due on Sundays, and again, each homework set has those 2 portions there for a total of 15% of your grade. So not 15 each, but 7.5 and 7.5. The labs, once they form lab groups, I'll be reaching out again. Those will be done in groups and uploaded to my courses individually. And if you don't participate in your lab group, you don't earn the same grade as the lab group. And then video notes. And again, credit for completion. So record something that works for you. You can't just screenshot what I wrote. I need, there's physics education research that shows that as you write the material, you're helping to reinforce it. So some version of you taking what I say in the videos and putting it into a way that is useful for you. Half credit for any late notes, no matter how late, and the lowest 3 are dropped. And then the big stuff that I haven't talked about yet. The quizzes and the midterms. There are going to be 10 total quizzes. I do drop the 2 lowest. So instead of like 3 major midterms throughout the semester, we instead, I like to divide the summer course into smaller chunks, makes it more manageable, I think, to only be tested on 2 modules at a time. So, it's a little bit faster paced than the regular semesters. So this allows you to kind of have a check-in and then reset and then do another set of modules and then reset. So a quiz every week, usually on about 1 to 2 modules. And the 2 lowest are dropped. Those are the only exams for the semester. There's no final exam for the asynchronous summer course. There is instead a midterm and a final project, both which are going to use Pivot. You can read more about them if you're interested. I'll be talking more about them as they get closer. And they will be analyzing real life motion and real videos using the skills you've learned. This was, kind of a fast spiel for this, introductory course, or introductory week for the course, I should say. And so, you can go back to anything that I flashed through very quickly, read the syllabus in a little bit more detail. There is a full course. If you have like a vacation planned and you're like, okay, I'm going to have to work ahead, there is a full course day by day, every single deadline for the entire summer, so that you can plan ahead, do your own time management, and work through that as needed. But I think at this, I'll end this introductory video, say welcome, and reach out with any questions that you have. All right, I'll be seeing you soon. All right, take care.